cost is the amount you have spent as a business in the course of producing a good or a service. Do you get what cost is there? The amount that the business will have spent to be able to produce a product or a service. So here, cost. These are the amounts spent in ensuring that a product or service is available to be sold. So you have gone into that process because as soon as you are done with that process, you want to sell it. That is why you have gotten to pay those costs. So that is cost. So we have two types of cost. We have the fixed cost and the variable cost. Why do we call it the fixed cost? We call it the fixed cost because these costs do not change as the level of output changes. So we continue to pay such amounts irrespective of we being in operations or not in operations. We call it fixed cost because we continue to pay such in as much as we are still in operations. It doesn't change. Even if we produce more or less, we continue to pay such amount of money. That is fixed cost. It's fixed cost level. So it is represented as FC. It's represented as FC. Then we have variable cost. These costs, they change as the level of output changes. So the more we produce, the more we pay for those costs. The less we produce, the less we pay on such costs. That's why we call it variable. Is it clear? It changes over time. It changes based on our level of output. Is it clear? It is represented as BC. Do you have any questions now?
No, sir. The FC and the BC is the variation.
Yeah, for fixed cost, for variable cost. Any question about this? Great. Now, how do we represent them in a curve? So for the fixed cost, it is this way. This is a fixed cost. It doesn't change as the level of output changes. Let's assume this is our output. So we continue with our, let's say this is our output at 0, 10, 20, 30, and so on. This cost, at 10 we pay the same, at 20 we pay the same, at 30 we pay the same, and so on. Do we get it?
Yes.
Do we understand fixed cost here? As the level of output increases, we pay the same.
So it's not the same, it's not what changes.
It doesn't change as the level of output changes. The output is changing, yes or no?
Yes.
Or we're still paying the same. At 10, the same. At 20, the same.
So that is the output, but the cost is the same.
Yeah, at 30, the same. For variable costs, look at the variable costs. We said these are costs that changes as the level of output changes. At 0, nothing. At 10, let's say at 10. At 10, you see, at 0, nothing. At 10, it increases. So let's say this should be around, let's say 5. Let's say 10, 15, 20, and so on. At 0, this. As it increases. At 10, this. At 20, do you see? Please sit down properly. Huh? Sit down properly. Do you get what I'm saying there?
Yes, yes.
Look at 0, 0, at 5. At the output of 10, we produce this. At output of 20, we produce this. At output of 30, at 30. So the cost continues to increase as the level of output increases. Do we get variable cost here? As output increases, the cost increases. That's variable cost. Is it clear? Clear?
Yeah.
Great. Sit upright. So the combination of these gives us our total cost. Do we get it? This plus this gives you total cost, which is the same as cost.
It's got to be variable cost.
Yeah, variable costs are costs that changes as the level of output changes. So you can also see it with the graph here. At the output of 10, the variable cost is this. As the output of 20, as the output increases by 10, the variable cost increases by 5. As the output increases by 30, the variable cost increases by 5. Do you understand? So as the level of output increases, the cost of production increases, the variable cost increases. These are the costs. So we have the fixed cost, which is stable, and the variable cost. But the variable cost will continue to rise as the level of output rises. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Sit down properly. Sit down properly. Sit upright. Is it clear?
Yes.
So,
That's
yes,
that example, bread, they produce it, but the rest is still the same.
the raw materials used, the flour used to bake bread, as the more the flour, the more you pay for the raw materials. So raw material, example of variable cost is the raw materials. Do you get it?
If they're not available, the price will increase.
If they are not available, then we're talking about something which is demand and supply. Here we're talking about the price to make them available. Here we're talking about what? The price to make those things available. It's not about demand and supply. Is it clear? So here, I think we understood what fixed and variable cost is now. For fixed cost, the outputs are this, the same with the same fixed cost. But for variable cost, as the output increases, the cost increases. That is variable cost. So the combination of this and this gives us our total cost. So our cost is the same as what? Total cost. Is it clear, please?
Yes.
Are you sure you are here?
Yes.
Okay. Now, go to the average cost. What is an average cost? An average cost is the cost of producing a single unit of the output. The cost of producing a single unit of output. Now we produce our total. So how much do we spend in producing one out of the hundreds we have produced? That is what our total average cost is. Do you get it? We have our total cost. That is the cost for all the production. So how much does it cost us for a single of those outputs? That is average cost. So the formula for average cost is what? The total cost divided by the output or the quantity sold. Do you get it? The quantity produced, sorry. The total cost divided by the quantity produced. That's how you get your single, one out of it. This is the total divided by. Is it clear, yes?
Yeah.
Then go to the average cost curve. The average cost curve is a graph that represents the average cost of production. So it is always what? U-shaped. Why is it U-shaped? It is U-shaped because as we increase our output, please be here, as we increase our output, the average cost will first fall to reach a minimum where it starts increasing again. So look at the graph here. Let's use this graph for explanation. Based on what we have here, the average cost, look at it. At 0, nothing was produced. As the average cost, as the output increases from 100, for 100, we have the average cost is trading. As the output increases from 100 to 300, what happens to the average cost? It fell to 10. Do you get it?
Yeah.
This was the average cost for 100 units. As the unit increases to 300, the average cost fell from 20 to maybe 7.5 or 7, around 7. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So it continues to fall. It continues to fall to 10 from 10. It fell to 7. But what happens? It reached the minimum point where it starts increasing again. So as the output increases from 300 to 400, the average cost starts rising from 7 to what? To 10. As it increases, it continues to rise. That's why it is what? U-shaped. That's what I did here. For here, look at it here. At 100 units of output, the average cost is 5, right? Can we see it, please? At 100 units of output, the average cost is 5. As the output increases from 100 to 200, the average cost fell to less than 5. Yes or no?
Yes.
To 200, the average cost fell less than 5. As it increases, the average cost starts again from here. Then, if it increases to 400, the average cost will be around here. So, it reaches a minimum where the average cost will stay. Then, when you increase further, your average cost will start increasing. Do you understand? Remember we talked about economies of scale. I don't know if you've done economies of scale. For economies of scale, the more you produce, the less your average cost should be. But when you reach a point such as this, it becomes diseconomies. From here, from this point, is diseconomies. Because the average cost is what started increasing. Normally, you have expanded your business. Though we're not doing economies of scale today, but but it's just going to be an idea for you to understand. So, for economies of scale, we are dealing with the average cost of production. The average cost of production. So, for economies of scale, the average cost, as you are producing more, your average cost will start falling. But it will reach a stage that if you produce further, your average cost will start increasing. So when your average cost starts increasing because of additional output, then it is diseconomies of scale. But today we're talking about average cost alone. So for average cost, we're saying it is what a U-shape. Why is it U-shape? It is U-shape because as your output increases, your average variable cost will start falling at first. Then it's going to reach a stage where you produce further, the average cost starts increasing. That's why it is what U-shaped. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes. Yeah.
Alright, do you have any questions about average cost?
No.
Yeah.
Total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost. Average cost is total cost divided by the output. And what else again? Okay, then we go to total revenue.
Yes. Before you continue,
Yes.
it's always the average cost. Is it always a U-shape?
Yeah, the curve is U-shaped.
It's always.
Yeah. Because as soon as you produce, as soon as you increase your output, your average cost should fall. Why? Because most of the time, your variable cost contains more of your total cost. Your fixed cost is there, but your variable cost will continue to rise because your output is rising. So when you are increasing your output, your total cost should start falling. That means the unit of you producing one should fall. What we're saying is this: the cost of producing a single unit should start falling if you are increasing your output. Let me cite an example. If I have to buy this marker, I used to buy 100 of these markers. Now I want for maybe $10, 100 of these markers. But then I want to increase what I buy. I started buying 200. I would not buy the same price as I used to buy 100. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So as a result of that, when I start dividing the cost I pay divided by the output I have, you will see that the average cost will start what? Reducing. But do you understand?
Yes.
That's why when output increases, the average cost of production should what? Increase. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Then for total revenue, I wrote this is the amount of money a firm received from selling its output. The amount of money you make from selling your product. That is your total revenue. And the formula for total revenue is the price of the product multiplied by the quantity you sold. Because you said the amount of money you make from the sales of your product. So that means you sell 100 for 5, you make 500. That's the total revenue. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Then we have our profits. Firms will not survive without making profits. Not survive without making profits. So for profit is your total revenue minus your total cost. That means the amount of money you made from selling the product minus the cost of this product. Do you get what your profit is here?
Yes.
This is the amount you sold. Just focus here, please. This is the amount you sold, right? Good. This is the amount you pay to ensure that the product is available to be sold. Yes or no?
Yes.
So the difference between the amount you sell with the amount you spend in the cost of making it to be available to be sold is what we call profit. That's why profit is what? Total revenue minus total cost. Do you have any